Hello and welcome back to the Premier Injuries channel. Today we're doing another one of our breaking news updates because we've got latest info on Jack Grealish and his injury. So Ben, can you explain what the situation is with Manchester City's big money signing?
Yeah, so we heard from Pep Guardiola on Friday. He confirmed that Cole Palmer and Gabriel Jesus were the only two absentees from the matchday squad. However, when team news broke on Saturday ahead of their game with Norwich, there was no Jack Grealish in the squad. Now, local media reports suggested that it was an injury similar to the problem that he had at Aston Villa that could potentially keep him out for up to a month. Now, the Manchester City website confirmed that Jack Grealish was unavailable, no further details given. And then Pep Guardiola comes out and he said, yep, it is shin related. However, he could be back for the Champions League game on Tuesday evening.
Goodness me. So in your opinion, do you think that Pep is playing a little bit of the dark arts here? Because with that type of injury, as you said, it could be related to last season's injury. Is it an overplaying injury where actually, realistically, he should be rested?
Yeah, so we want to go back to that issue that we had last season. And that setback initially happened in February 2021. And it was an issue that Dean Smith said, again, wasn't very serious. Maybe expect him to miss a game or two, but of course that was extended and we didn't actually see Jack Grealish back until May. Now, Dean Smith, like I say, was getting pelters from all quarters with this. And in his defense, we're not always privy to what goes on behind the scenes. And, things with injuries, it's very rarely black and white. There are other things that come into play, influencing factors that can potentially impact on a player returning and availability. And this is exactly that case there. What we do know, so Pep's already referenced the fact that it was similar to the problem at Aston Villa. Now, as was reported incorrectly, according to Jack Grealish himself, initially that was said to be shin splints or medial tibial stress syndrome. Now, that is an exercise-induced pain in overuse injury. However, Jack Grealish said it was not that, but it was stress-related. Now, the difficulty with trying to pin down a timeline and a return to play with these types of overuse or overloading injuries is that they can flare up. So initially, when that was identified, Jack Grealish was training individually, he was managing his loan, and he was trying to gradually build up that. He was in a controlled environment, and he was covering between 3 to 4 kilometers every other day in terms of running, and then he was gradually building that up. But what was happening, he was getting a stress response, and as he was approaching and building that load towards maybe ahead of a game, he was breaking down. So in February, late February, Dean Smith said, yep, he will be rejoining the group next week and he could be available for our next match. Of course, he wasn't. In March, the similar thing, he had missed a couple of games. Jack Grealish is going to be back. Joined the squad. After 2 days, he had to drop out again. And after 6 weeks, we had a similar problem. And like I say, it wasn't until May that we actually seen Jack Grealish back for Aston Villa.
And this was the problem at the time. I think a lot of people got angry because that kind of coupled up with a downturn in Aston Villa's form. And so maybe that's why the pressure was on. In this situation then, do you think that Pep might treat him, one of your best sayings, with kid gloves, knowing his history? Because realistically, the return to fitness is difficult to pinpoint with this type of injury.
Yeah, so what I would like to stress here, and this is maybe the main difference between an Aston Villa, and no disrespect, and a Manchester City. Jack Grealish was a superstar at Aston Villa, and we've seen in his absence during that period the downturn in attacking output across their metrics, goals, XG, all of those, and that was, Jack Grealish was pivotal to them. So by their own admission, by the players' admission, Jack Grealish and also Dean Smith, they tried to push the player really hard for a return to play because they needed him back. They were pushing, they needed to survive in the Premier League. You don't have that with Manchester City. If Jack Grealish isn't available, Phil Foden comes in, Kevin De Bruyne fills that spot, Gundogan comes in, Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, Gabriel Jesus, Raheem Sterling. So Manchester City can afford to manage Jack Grealish that little bit better. The problems that they always had in the past is, we talk about really there's a move away from these time-stamped returns. He will be back in 2 weeks. He will be back in 3 weeks. These are activity-based returns. And the issue that Jack Grealish was having, he was ticking the boxes to a point. When he went to the next level, he was suffering a step back because he wasn't able to tolerate that increase in load. Now, like I say, Manchester City can afford to be a little bit more careful, with him, and therefore not push him as hard. So while the injury mightn't be as serious as it was in Aston Villa, even a quick turnaround for maybe the midweek Champions League tie could be a little bit of a push. And I would suggest that, again, we're not just looking about the here and now. It's about maybe, seeing City through to the run-in, and maybe he might not be risked for those games.
And just adding to that then, even if he is back into the team for that Tuesday, which you said it is unlikely, the midweek fixture, would you avoid putting him into your team in terms of maybe fantasy Premier League, or betting on him if that's what you're into as well, purely because he might be in and out of the squad through the season and have his minutes managed till this overplaying injury goes away again?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very, very difficult one. We've seen with the likes of Jordan Henderson in recent times, plantar fasciitis, knee tendonitis, Jamie Shackleton at Leeds, Achilles tendonitis, and also I think it was Rodrigo. Those types of problems, you cannot sort of pin down anything definitive. And also players can train for the full week, ahead of match day one, go to bed, wake up in the morning, and there's a kind of reaction there. Jack Grealish has said in the past, it's something that I am aware of, and it is part of his body maintenance that he needs to look after it post-match. That's sometimes why you see him typically with some kind of cold ice therapy on the front of his thighs. That's managing that condition. So it's nothing new. It's something he's dealt with. Sometimes it just flares up. Of course, we're coming off the back of that busy festive fixture schedule, then into January. Of course, we've just come back off that that international stroke winter break, and maybe that increase in intensity and getting back for these returning games and the midweek fixtures all come together, and that's what's caused potentially this problem and this reaction.
So that is all the information I think people need for the time being in terms of Jack Grealish and Manchester City there. I hope you found that very useful. And so in return, I hope you can hit that like, subscribe, and you can comment below if you've got any more questions on the issue. We've got so much data here and information at Premier Injuries. We're always here to help you. But for now, I'm going to wish you the best of luck, and we will see you again very, very soon.